Welcome, Sasha. Glad to have you on the pod.
Glad to be here. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, for our audience, Sasha is the founder of Still I Run, a nonprofit, actually one of the first nonprofits on mental health and awareness. And I'm really glad that we're going to chat about your nonprofit, how you're supporting runners, and especially some of the big races in the world, and also some of the tips for runners, especially in the fundraising side of things. So I'm looking forward to our chat, Sasha. You want to kick it off, maybe you can go back your founding journey. How did you found or the idea of founding Still I Run came about?
Yeah. I kind of had the idea for it shortly after I was hospitalized for depression and anxiety. So I was hospitalized back in 2011. And one of the things I discovered while I was in treatment was medication, therapy, and some sort of healthy habit. And for me, I was like, all right, let's gravitate towards running. My parents had modeled that really good behavior to me. It seems pretty easy. It's not very expensive. So I started running for my mental health. And eventually I wanted to connect with other people that ran for mental health because there's such strength and safety and community with others who are kind of on the same journey as you. But unfortunately, I couldn't find a group anywhere in the US of people that ran for mental health, explicitly for mental health, or any organization surrounding it. So I thought, well, let's just start this thing on my own. I started it as a Facebook page back in 2016 on coincidentally World Mental Health Day,
Oh, wow. Okay.
October 10. So it's October 10's great, like World Mental Health Day and our birthday. And after the Facebook page went live and the little website I built and like sharing my story of why I ran for mental health, so many people started reaching out. They had no idea that I dealt with mental illness. They had no idea I had been hospitalized. Then there were others that were like, oh my goodness, I run for my mental health too. So Still I Run was really this place where for the first time, someone in the world was putting together mental health and running.
Mhm.
And so eventually people started asking, well, how do I donate? How do I get involved? What kinds of programming and events do you have? I'm thinking, wow, I didn't anticipate any of this, but obviously there's a need for it here in the United States. So Still I Run became a official 5C3, an official organization, and we've been working to promote the benefits of running for mental health ever since with programs and events and education and so many ways to get involved with Still I Run. And there's so many ways to be challenged to get out there and run for your mental health.
Kidding. Do you want to highlight some of the programs you have? I think you have quite a few extensive programs that evolved over the years. So you want to highlight a couple of them?
Yeah, the very first program we ever launched was our ambassador program. And, when people think of ambassador programs, they think like, oh, it's like a club, a membership. But for us here at Still I Run, it's kind of our way of uplifting the stories of people that run for mental health. Because
Mhm.
we know one of the best ways to get rid of the stigma is to share our own stories. So all of our ambassadors, they share their stories of why they run for mental health. They share about Still I Run. They run races on our behalf with the Still I Run logo, helping to spread awareness of what we're doing. We give those ambassadors free suicide prevention training. We give them quarterly educational talks with mental health clinicians. So the ambassadors get a lot and give a lot through that program.
Great.
Then we also have our Starting Line Scholarship. That was the next program that came along. And
Mhm.
that's where we help people overcome any barriers they may have in running for mental health. So for 10 to 12 weeks, we work with them to train them for a 5K or a 10K, and they're provided a coach, all the gear that they need. We've now expanded that to a few in-person cohorts where they have group mental health therapy. They run with their running coach, and it's like a whole cohort that runs together.
Nice.
Then we also have our Run Chapter program. So this is to have places around the US where people run for mental health together, safe and inclusive spaces with a hyper focus on moving for mental health, not necessarily to be the fastest person.
Right. Right.
And then we also have a new program that we're going to be launching in Q1 of 2025. And it's called the Mental Health Runner Program. And that's where we'll provide shoes, top, and then like a workbook slash journal slash training
Okay.
Schedule. So it's kind of like a self-guided run for mental health program, providing you the tools needed to get running for mental health. And then we've got Team Still I Run, which is our fundraising team, which yes, they're fundraising for us, but at the same time, we also consider it an awareness thing too, because we're uplifting the stories of those runners and why they're focused on running for mental health.
Right.
Again, helping to spread our mission and defeat that stigma.
No, great. That's a quite a few extensive list of programs that you have that people can participate, right, locally
Yeah.
or through different running chapters that you mentioned. Let's talk about a little bit of Team Still I Run. So you are official charity partner, some of the biggest races.
Yes.
Maybe start with some of the races that you are official charity partner, and how did you get involved in those, and how it's actually giving you back to progress or move forward the mission of Still I Run.
Yeah, next year we're super excited. That race calendar is proven to be a good one. So we kick off the year as official race partners for the New York City Half Marathon, and then we've got Big Sur in California, and
Mhm.
then Grandma's in Minnesota, and then we just found out we're so excited. We're partners of the Sydney Marathon, the seventh world major.
Yay, that's pretty exciting. Yeah.
So excited. We have a number of bibs to that race. That's in August. And then Berlin is September. And then we're waiting to hear about our acceptance for the New York City Marathon at the end of the year. So,
Great. You have Chicago in between, right?
oh, yes, Chicago's in there
Yeah.
too.
Yeah, that's pretty big too for you, right? Yeah.
Yeah, a really big race calendar next year. We're official partners for all of them. We started the Team Still I Run program back in 2022. That was where I had the confidence to say, you know what, Still I Run can be a charity partner of one of these major races. So we applied for the New York City Marathon and ended up getting in.
Mhm.
Because charities have to apply as well, not just the runners, but like the
That
charities
is true.
have to apply to all of these races to say that they will use these funds in a wise way and that we will recruit runners and we will use the bibs to the best of our ability. So, ever since getting New York in 2022, it's kind of like kickstarted this amazing race roster for us every single year. It's I absolutely love it. And all of the money that's raised by our runners through Team Still I Run at all these races, it all goes back to our programs and fueling our programs and growing them even bigger and bigger, because someday I envision Still I Run as being not just an organization with
Mhm.
programs, but a movement, a national movement of people that are running for mental health. So Team Still I Run is helping to fuel that dream and that mission of ours.
Great. So you are involved four of the seven majors, if I got the count right.
Yes, yes,
Uh,
and it's just thrilling to have the newest one. Like, they just said that Sydney was gonna be, the 7th world major back in November.
right. I think the New York Marathon Day, I guess that they
Yes,
declared it. Yes.
it was so funny.
Yeah. Yeah. You tell a little bit about the runners that are running for Still I Run, because you mentioned they are personally connected Still I Run, or say for anyone who wants to be running or wants to run those big races and the other races outside the majors. And what that should be, or what you would be looking in them to be part of the team Still I Run.
Yeah, to be a part of Team Still I Run, we're really looking for people that are passionate about mental health and or running for mental health. People that have a personal connection to our mission, because there's so many different charities out there, so many amazing deserving charities out there, and the best fundraisers, the ones that have the best success, are the ones that are personally connected to the mission. So I know a lot of times people just want to pick a random charity because they want to run the race, and that's great, but you're going to have a much easier time running for a charity where you can tie your own story into it.
Right.
So, for example, we've had so many runners where they've lost a family member to suicide, and so they're raising money in honor of that individual. Or we've had, I mean, I feel like the vast majority of our individuals, they deal with their own personal mental health struggles, and so they're raising money for awareness of what they're dealing with. And then just recently, like within the past year, we've had a ton of mental health clinicians apply
Oh, wow.
to
Okay.
be a part of the team, which is so cool because these mental health clinicians, they're not only doing good in the world in their industry, but they're like, let's give back some more. Let's raise money for a mental health awareness organization like Still I Runs. It's everyone that's ever been a part of our team. They've got a personal connection to mental health in some way. And, that's it. Pretty common because so many people in the US, in the world, deal with a mental health condition. I mean, 1 in 5. So we all know a couple people. So yeah, it's the stories that come through with Team Still I Run for the people that run for us, it's amazing.
So one data point, and I know you're the runners are running with Still I Run since 2016, right? And we have an event called pandemic happened in 2020.
Yep.
I'm curious, things you have seen before, pre and post. Have you seen any difference of like stories or kind of more people more interested being part of Still I Run during that?
Yeah, absolutely. So once 2020 hit, interest in Still I Run just exploded. You could see it in our web hits, you could see it in Google searches. And it's because people were really looking for something to do for their mental health. Gyms were closed down. You couldn't get together with
Yeah.
friends and family. And so Still I Run was just a great find for people looking for a community to connect with virtually. And it's funny when I started Still I Run and I wanted to be nationwide, but I'm here in Grand Rapids, Michigan. People were like, "Well, how are you going to do that virtually? Like that doesn't work."
Yeah.
But then 2020 happened and the whole world went virtual. So it's just been a really interesting evolution of seeing more people find us directly after the pandemic, but then also like digging into people's stories and how 2020, the year or two afterward really still affect people to this day. Wasn't just a blip in our lives. It was something that had compounded effects. So reading people's stories about how 2020 losing a job, family members, just the stress of that time has given people maybe a little bit of PTSD, and so they're still looking to do something good for their mental health. And Still I Run is here to help people.
No, that's great to hear. No, yeah, I was looking at your, the annual report and all. At least last year's 2023, and I can see some of the stories that you have there
Mhm.
resonates at the pandemic. So I was curious to learn a little bit more on that. Now, coming to the fundraising part, and since you are involved in four of the big seven majors, I'm just curious some of the things that you have seen worked for the runners, the team Till I Run, that you want to share,
Yeah.
or some of the things that didn't work. That think, hey, don't try those things. Tips or tricks. Yeah.
I think one of the easiest things that I've seen work out really well is food fundraisers. So
Ah,
partnering up with
okay.
a local restaurant, or there's a whole website out there that lists a directory of restaurants that do give back days, like on October 22, Pizza Hut at this location for 15% give back to the charity of your choice. So those work out really well. I've also seen, it's not memorial kind of deal, maybe recognition, where if someone donates a certain amount of money, the runner will agree to write that person's name on their arm or on their bib
Oh,
to
okay.
like carry that individual with them through the race. That's been super popular. We've had individuals who have done like online garage sales. So that one actually it brings in quite a few funds because like you can just post whatever you have in your house that you no longer want on Facebook and do a sale. And just never know who's going to want to buy your stuff. But then it's funny. One of the very most successful things we've seen was a woman who got super vulnerable and shared her story of losing her husband to a sudden cardiac arrest and finding him and like the trauma around that and her mental health. She shared that on her Facebook page and she got, I think, several $1,000s in donations within 48 hours because of how vulnerable she was, that she shared her story. And I know not everyone is in that place to share their story, and that is absolutely okay. But absolutely any way you can tie in personally with the mission, that is gonna be your best bet.
No, that makes sense. That's fascinating. Some of the things that you shared, things that did not work, or you have seen that, the runner shared with you, Sasha, I tried it, but didn't give me anything else or any
Yeah.
results that we wanted.
Yeah, so people sometimes get frustrated when they just post something to Facebook really quick, like, hey, I'm raising money for such and such race. Here's my donation link. That usually does not yield high or any results because it's a quick hit, it's not personal, and it was also done maybe only once. In today's society, people need to like communicate in different platforms and multiple times to get results. So definitely that's probably the biggest thing that does not work is just posting once on Facebook about it with nothing personal attached.
That makes total sense. Have you seen any platform works better for the team still I run versus others? Some of the, like you mentioned Facebook a couple of times, like other platforms that you have seen that yielding more results versus
Yeah,
others?
this is going to be interesting and old school, but text messaging, which I know is super bizarre, but like you can easily send your fundraising page link through a text message to folks and it's like an instant donation right there because
Right.
it's you're removing the barrier to have that person donate. I mean, in terms of like traditional platforms, I would definitely say Facebook, just because everybody's on Facebook to a certain extent, and it's easier to embed links in that as opposed to Instagram. Instagram can work, but Instagram stories is the best way to do it because then you can directly link within your Instagram stories.
That what? Yeah, that makes sense. The donate link, right? Yeah.
Yeah, because if you just post about it on your regular feed, like, you can't put a link on there. You can type it out, but the
Yeah.
chance of someone, like, typing out your link to go donate to you is pretty slim. So, you wanna make it as easy as possible for people to donate to you, which is why I think the text messaging works. I mean, we're on our phones pretty much all day anyway, so getting a text that pops up, you just directly hit that donation link, it makes it far easier.
Yeah, I think that makes sense because yeah, you're reducing that friction that you have to click a couple of times to go to and
Yeah.
find your post and the link and click and
Mhm.
donate. So you're taking that friction from the donor point of view. What about the peer-to-peer platforms that you use? Have you seen that also assist you as a nonprofit owner or and also the runner's point of view?
Yeah, so there's so many different fundraising platforms out there. Each charity is responsible for choosing what platform works for them. Although some races make you use a certain platform, Still I Run's chosen peer-to-peer fundraising platform is GiveButter. It's super easy to use, very easy to set up and share your story and share multiple ways, either through email, text messaging, posting on social media. Some races want us to use Haku. If people have ever fundraised for the New York City Marathon or Chicago, they're probably very familiar with Haku. But when you are fundraising for a charity, for a race, you have to use whatever fundraising platform the charity says.
Makes sense.
Yeah, so you can't set up your own on, like, GoFundMe or anything like that.
No, that makes total sense. Yeah, because sometimes the races come with their own platforms and then you're stuck to it pretty much.
Yeah, because the other part of it too is the races really wanna make sure that the charities are using the bibs, if you will, to the best of their ability and fundraising appropriately. So a
Mhm.
lot of the races actually require reports from us as charities. So, like, New York and Chicago, they do, I think, monthly check-ins with charities, seeing how much we've raised so far. So if we use one of the races' preferred fundraising platforms, they can just check in on their own and make sure that the charity and the runners are fundraising appropriately.
Great. That makes total sense that they can do it themselves. So instead of asking you, hey, how far you're at the target, can you share the report? One thing, there are other charities like who like to be in your shoes, Sasha, that they're charity partner for some of the biggest races. And I'll be curious, what is your take on sharing some tips? Like, how did you end up building these partnerships that you can be a charity partner, some of these big races?
Yeah. So before 2020, before like the race landscape got all funny, I actually partnered up with a few local races here in Grand Rapids. I did our first try into the charity team thing with the Grand Rapids Marathon. It was very like homegrown. But I worked with the race director and I said, hey, can you give me several bibs to your marathon and I will give them to our runners for a discount if they raise this much money. So we brought in like $3,000 or $4,000 through those runners through that little mini team. But that kind of set the groundwork and the foundation of, hey, what is possible? And then when it came to apply for the New York City Marathon in 2022, I already had a few of those little races under my belt with local races.
Mhm.
And I think that helped display to the New York City Marathon that we're capable of doing this. And luckily, I feel like our application and our past experience, as small as it was, really helped to tell the story for them. So if you want to get into the team endurance fundraising thing with runners in your charity, reach out to those local races. Tell those race directors what you're hoping to do, and go from there. I starting small and then working big. It is definitely a possibility. We're proof of it. Like, never in my wildest dreams did I think that a little tiny partnership with the Grand Rapids Marathon and raising $3,000 could lead to being a part of 4 of the world majors.
No, that's pretty solid tip for sure that you start small
Yeah.
and then build your foundation to get to those big races. That makes sense. Sasha, thank you so much for sharing those tips for our fundraisers, for nonprofits that would like to be in your shoes, your story at Still I Run, and the amazing work that you are doing, helping runners and also helping with their mental health awareness and coping with it. So it's a great mission, and I hope your story inspires a lot of folks.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thanks for having me on the show. And honestly, I'm all about paying it forward in every way. I've had so many people that have helped me along the way. So if you're listening to this, if you're a charity and you just want like some tips or pointers or more information about how we got started in this space with the charity team endurance, send me an email, sasha@stillirun.org. The world is a better place when you pay it forward, and I would love to help others.
That's fascinating. Thank you so much, Sasha.
Yeah, you're welcome.